Hey everybody, how you doing? It is Wednesday, the last Wednesday of March. Can you believe it? Wow, it is March the 31st and we are live on Victory Speaks. How you doing? How's everybody doing? Okay, this is your time to get ready to share, to relax, relate, release. Get your notepad, get your drink. I'm so confused tonight. I got two. hmm I got two tonight. I made me a special drink for tonight because this is going to be a really beautiful time. I believe it. I have a really special guest for you tonight. I always have a special guest for you, don't I? Um, and I love this woman. I love this woman. How are you guys doing? And what did we listening to? We are listening to Calabash. Yes. Have you gotten the album yet? If not, after the show, go on to iTunes, buy the album, support our local artists. They're doing such phenomenal work. The last. Okay, so well, I'm gonna load on the music because I'll just keep dancing. I'll just keep dancing because I just love their album. This one is called From Whence We Came. So if you've never heard their albums, I like Bash, I like Beats, I love so much of their songs. They have more than one album. Now I don't own the rights to the song, but I do have permission to play the music. So um, I like to support our local artists. And see, it's getting ready. I'm getting ready. I'm ramped up and I'm ready and I'm waiting. So tonight, welcome to the Victory Speak Show. For those of you who don't know me, I am Nicole Waldron, your voice of victory and your mental fitness coach. And the Victory Speaks Inspired Conversation series is where iron sharpens iron. And on Wednesdays, we talk about wellness. It's Wellness Wednesdays, and we have to mind our minds. We have to take care of our bodies, our minds, our hearts, our souls, and our spirits. And I've been contemplating this for a long one. I said, another show? Yes, another show. There'll be more coming. Pray for me, y'all. The ideas are there. There's so much to do. There's so much to say because there's so many great people in this world to interview. And I just love sharing them with you. It's having so many great conversations with people daily, several times a day. Sometimes they're good. Sometimes they're not so great. But let me tell you, every time I come out inspired, I come out feeling better. I come out learning some, whether it's here on live, whether it's on the phone, whether it's in Clubhouse, whether it's with my family, I'm having great conversations. And so as we enter this first quarter, next quarter, second quarter of the year, people are like, how are you starting this second quarter? How did you make it through your first quarter? And I'm like, you know what? We need to get back to some basics. Love is a word that's been thrown around for the ages, and many use it and misuse it, mishandle it, and it's time we get back to what real love is. And that's part of the healing that we need to do, and the hope. This world has been so affected by a lack of love, and this pandemic has just stretched us in many of our lives, in many abilities. And so, in this next little while, in this next little few shows, you'll hear on different ways we talk about love and explore love, about love healing ourselves and our children, our partners, our friends, and those that we don't even know, our community, our world. Today was a traumatic day for many. As you know, many are watching this trial of George Floyd. And I saw so much trauma happening online, so many people being triggered. And I'm so glad tonight that the topic is about love. So we got to do some inward work as we progress on this journey to operate in complete health. And we want to love ourselves back to living a healthier life. And I think we all think we love ourselves a lot, but we can never love ourselves too much. And now I'm not talking about being prideful. We're talking about humble love. So tonight I join you for this very significant topic. My guest is a woman that I have known for, I've been trying to figure out how many years I've known her for. She's so humble. I was like, send me your bio. She's like, no, you know me. I'm like, oh my God, she's put me on the hot seat. To many people know her as a chef. She's a chef. She's a mom. She's a community, hero, shero. She's an advocate. She is always there on the fire lines, waiting to help someone, spreading joy. Even as a chef, she's always so creative. She's a designer by heart. She's always designing everything that she does, and she lives her life with joy and she lives her life with love. And she's taken the art of cooking and always put love into it and style into it. And now she's added now being a coach. She's now a lifestyle and GPS coach. And some of us know her as Chef Lovemore, but now we're going to know her as Lovemore, the lifestyle and GPS coach. And hopefully we get some food out of this. So before I get carried away, we're just talking about this awesome woman. I'm going to bring her on. This is the wonderful, the amazing Lovemore Sher. I'm gonna bring her up to the stage here, the Victory Speak stage. Woo! Look at you with your flowers. You're just ready. You're just ready. Just joy, just joy, just joy. Yay! Just joy,
I
just joy, just
brought you
joy.
your flowers, my dear,
You
even
brought
though
me
it's
my flowers.
virtually. Always, always.
I don't know if people realize how much I love flowers. I wish I could have Leucaena flowers, fresh flowers every day in my house. That would be my deepest desire and my deepest love. So, how are you doing today, beloved?
I am having an overflowing of joy day. It's been a beautiful breakthrough week, and I'm feeling beautiful.
And so, you have this unique way of starting your day. And I think, just as you're right there and you're grooving, tell us, how do you start your day? How do you start this day of with Love More? How do you start your day?
It's very long, but I'm going to just let you in on, I'm going to share a little bit. So it starts, you wake up in the morning, your eyes are open, and I stay in bed.
Mm,
And depending on how much time I have, like from the night before, I kind of just set the tone for the day I want, the next day that I want. I kind of say, I want 8 hours sleep because before I wasn't getting any sleep.
right,
So I map out the sleep. The sleep come first.
right.
So based on what I need to get done for the day, I'll say 8 hours sleep. I can get up at 6. So I know I have to go to bed at, is it 10 p.m.?
Hmm.
Because sleep is very important to me now. So I map that out. So I know, okay, I get up at 6 and I have to be out of my bedroom by say 8. So if I get up at 5, sometimes our body wake up before we actually want to wake up. So if I get up at 5 and I know I have to leave my bedroom at 8, I will probably, when I wake up, I'm like, thank you, Lord, for this day. And even if I don't say it out loud, I'm speaking it in my heart and I'm rejoicing. And like yourself, I love music. So I'll put on my playlist, and depending on the week, I always have my go to song. And I will play this song and I will sing out loud, lying in the bed, eh? Then depending on how I'm feeling, if I'm having a tough week, then I know I have to get into motivation and mindset. So I'll do like an inspirational mindset YouTube video. Then I'll pray. And then when I feel like, okay, now you're ready for the day, then I'll get out of bed. Then once I do that, I go to my bedroom window and I open the window so I can see the sky. And depending on, if it's warmer days, I can hear the chirping birds. And that for me gives me the energy to say, oh my goodness, I'm alive. And God brought me into this new day. And that builds my energy, and it just waters my gratitude. And Nicole, you know how amazing it is to start our day with gratitude. We're not focusing on our problems because we have problems and
Yes.
situations. When you immerse your starting your day in gratitude, listen, you just want to pull your flowers and like, I'm declaring that today is going to be a beautiful day. And you see all of this? Thankfully, my window is like 3 tiered, so I can just set up my flowers.
Yes.
And every night, because I love to create, every night I
Yes.
take my daughter's artwork. I'm like, I'm going to do pink and yellow. So when I wake up to the God's vibrant colors and the sun and the sky. How can you not have a good day?
This is, and you see, people might have found it strange that my first question to you was, how do you start your day? And it was purposeful because you are very intentional on
Yes.
how you start your day. And why did you formulate such a ritual to start your day? What was the intent behind this? What was the vision?
The intent was I got into a season of my life where I wanted to live more.
Mm.
And I just started to say, this makes me feel good. And if it feels good and it is good and it is healthy and it is legal, I'm front I'm in
I
front
love
of
it.
line for that.
I like if it is legal. Did you always used to start your day like this?
No,
What made the shift happen?
losing my mom.
Mm. Tell us. Can you tell us about that? I know I'm going deep. I'm going deep in. What? Tell us about that. Like that shift of your mom transitioning from the earth,
Yeah,
and before, what was life like? Like if we were to step back a minute,
yeah.
what was life like before you embraced this new way of starting your day and starting it with intentional finding ways to joy?
The first thing that came to mind when I was going through my mom's journey and other stuff, which we'll talk about another time, my next door neighbor who's a pastor, he called me over because he had to come in that season to help rectify a lot of stuff that I was going through. And before I walked out, he said, Cher, you're barely existing.
Mm.
And I walked out and I said, Lord, I don't want anybody else to ever echo those words to me again. And the next thing that came to mind was my mom on her deathbed.
Mm-hmm.
She said, before I go, promise me two things. You'll give your heart to the Lord and you will find your own happiness.
Wow.
And Nicole, I'm not sure if you've ever experienced seeing someone go from maybe my mom was like 140 to
Yeah.
maybe 20 pounds,
Wow.
sunken eyes. And I'm not going to get to because I don't want to trigger anyone. But
Yeah. Yeah.
why I'm sharing this, because I want people to get hope from this pain to purpose season and journey that I went through. And I came on here, whenever I share, I don't share to tell you what I went through. I share to tell you that what you went through, because you can't see the other side of the pain, what's on the other side of the pain, because I've been through it.
Yeah.
I am on the other side. It is I've made it my responsibility to help at least one person from my story. What I've went through and what God has brought me through, it wasn't only to shape me for what he has and wants me to do, it's because he wants me to heal someone from the experiences that I've gone through. What we've gone through is not for us,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's for others, because he equips us, because when we're in it, we can speak the story. We don't have to make up a story. I don't
Right.
have to make up a story that I lost my mom and my life got transformed because I lost her. It is the truth, and it is what I went through. It is what I experienced. It. I don't need to write it down and speak it. I can just sit and say it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that was the catalyst for me, where the cataract from my eyes, I'm just using terminology
Right.
here. I didn't
Right.
have a cataract on my eye,
It was like
but
you were blind and you weren't seeing your life. I
I
get it. You weren't
wasn't.
seeing your life. Yeah. You were
I
just
wasn't.
existing. Right.
I wasn't. And that shook me to the core. And then I made the choice.
Mm.
I said, enough is enough. I am going to pull myself together. The least I can do is honor my mom's wishes. And that is what I get up to every single day. I have a pair of shoes that I bought that says Lovemore and it's red. It sits in my room when I wake up, because we need the reminder sometimes,
Right.
because sometimes
You have to
life
have
just
symbols. Yes.
sometimes life pull us all over the place and we forget our why and our purpose. I bought
Yes.
a pair of shoes 5 years, 6 years ago, and I write love more. I wish I'd brought it down. Love more. I don't wear it out and get it dirty. I
Yeah,
just bought it for me.
yeah, yeah.
And I put
A
love more
reminder.
share.
And but you know what people may not know is okay. So you talk about your mom and the transition and recognizing that you weren't existing, and thank God you had someone who was wise enough to tell you and empathetic enough to tell you, and and the symbolism of the love more. So now you're living your life. You've chosen now to live your life intentionally with love, with joy, with gratefulness. What brings you great joy? What fills you up now?
What fills me up is waking up first thing and realizing that God has more planned for me. He wants me here to fulfill a destiny. And I'm like, okay, Lord,
Yeah.
you know what, Nicole? I'm not sure if how many people think like this, but when I wake up, it's a gift. When I wake up each morning and I breathe in, and
Yeah.
I intentionally, when I'm in my bed, I breathe in and I just focus, and I'm just like, I'm not sure if this is even a word or a phrase that someone has made before, but I'm going to say, have you ever gone into comparison gratitude?
Go ahead. Talk about it.
Have you ever lie in bed and you think of someone who can't get out of bed because their back hurt?
Hmm.
Have you ever? I look at my daughter, Nicole, and she's healthy, she's vibrant, she's beautiful, she's whole. And I think of comparison gratitude because I have friends and their children are in wheelchair. Nicole, when I look at my daughter, how
Yes.
can I not be? So I don't know if I'm making this up or if it's even a thing.
Right.
When I turn on my tap water in the morning, comparison gratitude set in. I think of children or family who don't have running water.
Water. Yes.
So my life, everything that I see, I prayed, Lord, like Nicole, when I lost my mom, I said, Lord, please open my eyes to a higher level of gratitude. Because when you have more gratitude, you complain less. So when you complain less, you
Mm.
have more joy. So when you talk about joy, it is a combination of things. And of course, true joy comes from the Lord. But when we're talking about fueling or joy, there is a combination of things that you practice consistently and you develop certain habits. Gratitude feeds your joy. Why? Because when you focus more on gratitude and the things that you have and be grateful for, and the scripture says, in everything, give thanks. And I know it's not always easy, but the more you practice gratitude, the more peace you have, and the more you smile and the more joy you have, because even in a storm, you're like, thank you, Lord, for this storm, because I know brighter days are ahead. And people are sitting and thinking, how can you smile in a storm?
Because
God
you've been
never.
able, you have coined the ability to see the opportunity in the crisis. What I hear you saying is
Yeah.
that choice. You consciously made that choice to walk your life from the lens of gratitude and not from the lens of what you don't have, but from what you do have. Now that's big because so many of us, we grow up and especially in this pandemic, right? We are faced with losing jobs and losing loved ones and not being able to be on that place that we were, and we've lost our identity because some of our identity was caught up in what we did or Abba Bob, I'm this. But hearing you say you intentionally chose to live from your navigation system of gratitude, and what I also, it so reminds me of your systems, and I know we'll get into that later. Your GPS system in your program,
Yeah.
of your GPS indicator is gratitude. Your GPS indicator is love. And how can I do this? Okay. I'm loving this. Okay, I'm gonna get ahead of myself. I gotta bring myself back down because this is so good. And we're getting lots of love and comments. I'm gonna send you your love right now. Love more. Hello from Beta. You know, Kofi says, I'm on Zoom, but I'm eagerly waiting to watch you later. Paula, that's so true. She's loving what you're saying. And Chantel is, I understand exactly like what Lovemore is saying. I thank God each morning for waking me up and always think of hours who may not wake up. I give thanks and be blessed for hours. Good evening, ladies. I'm on. I thought it was 8:30. That's okay. You're on in time. We're just getting started. Come in, share the conversation because we are going to ensure our goal tonight is to make sure that you can operate from a higher place of your love, a higher place of yourself, a higher place of your calling. And we know that in this time of this pandemic and everyone's experiencing it all over the world, and we don't always have good days. Like yesterday, this show almost didn't happen today because the Nicole was not well at all. So the fact that, I have iron sharpeners like Cher who just come in and just pour love and they just know, and people in my own circle just they knew. It was like they just knew that Nicole was not well yesterday. And so it is really true. It really is truly that when people start pouring that love, it is a healing balm that comes with love. And now, so when I think about it, and you refer to your mom, what was growing up like for you? Because were you always this vibrant and this always this sharing person?
Nicole, I'm not sure if there's anyone on here who knew me before 2015. And you asked if I was always this vibrant person. I'm sure it was
I knew you
the,
before 2015. I knew you before 2015. Okay, sorry.
yeah, I'm sure it was within. I've always smiled.
Yes.
I was always known as someone who smiled even when I didn't have a voice. So one thing I can tell you that was always me was a
Hmm.
smile. The vibrancy, the energy, the love,
Hmm.
the love, this level of love, I never knew. Or I
Hmm.
never, let me rephrase because we got to get our words properly
Yes.
here.
Yes.
I never unfolded because it is within. It is within. We were created from love, with love. Love is within us. We have to unfold it. We have to learn to unfold more of it. And we have to learn truly what love is. And it's so endless and so wide. We could
Hmm.
speak on this forever. So the honest truth is, before 2015, I was shy beyond. If you look shy in the dictionary, I am top of line. And Nicole, it was so bad during my catering days. I remember a conversation with a client. She sent me an email and she's like, I wish I would have met you. Because she was talking about the server.
Yes.
She's like, I
Yes.
wish I would
Yes.
have met you. I was hiding in the kitchen because I couldn't face anyone in their eyes and have a conversation. So I was hiding in the kitchen. And when she sent me that email, I knew then that things had to change. And even with wanting to change, the want wasn't strong enough. It took my mom's journey to save me.
I
So
love that.
So I'm not sure if you've ever heard me saying, death saved me twice. Jesus first,
Mm.
and then my mom.
Wow. Wow. That's powerful. And I remember meeting you back in the days. Cher is one of those few people who know me from way back when I used to have the Johans Productions, and we used to put on the networking breakfasts for business owners to come together, and Cher was one of those business owners, entrepreneurs that used to come, and we used to do the networking breakfasts and cater. So Cher's been around for a long time, and you've done some of the best catering for Joan Pierre and myself at the events for us. And yeah, you'd hide in the kitchen. We know that. Lots of love coming to you this way, Ulysses, one day at a time. Happy to see you here and sharing this story. Amanda is like, wow. Yep, Cher has been the shy one. And I thank you for your vulnerability. And you talk about your mom's transitioning, and and many people may not know how Love More, the name, came about. How did this name, because in your catering everybody always saw you being, you know you'd always have this signage. Like, okay, let me come back. Like when you catered, there's always this signage that was always all that about there. It was always something with love, and you were this great creator. How did the name Lovemore come about?
I'm thank you for asking that question, because you know what, a lot of times we're connected but we're not connecting,
Yes. Oh,
right?
I
We're
told you
connect
guys to get your pads out. Get your notepads out because she gonna drop some wisdom. Sometimes we're connecting, but we're not connecting. Okay, go ahead.
we're connected but we're not connected. So I know a lot of people, they see the love more and
Hmm.
all of that stuff. Just to make it short and sweet and spicy, love more is the legacy that my poor mom never knew what she was carrying, never understood what the name she
Hmm.
had.
Hmm.
And Nicole, I'm like, you know what? I am taking this legacy because I knew that that was the purpose that God had for me. And you know what, Nicole? When purpose come, I'm going to tell you, you will know that you know that you know that is
Yeah.
for you. It's a feeling within. You don't have to second guess. You don't have to call your friend. You don't have to ask God 2 or 3 times. You're going to know. And it's unfortunate that my mom didn't know and celebrate the power of the name that God said, I'm going to gift you that name so your daughter can take that banner and run with it. And take that name and run with it. And use that name to guide those who are intentional of wanting to seek more. And I'm just so honored, and I'm so humbled that God would choose me to gift me this legacy of Lovemore.
And so your mom's name was Lovemore.
Her last name is Lovemore, and what is even more unique, my mom never knew her dad.
Wow.
So that's where Lovemore. So there's a Lovemore. I don't even know if he's even still alive. My
Yeah.
daughter
Yeah.
asked me this. My daughter asked me this 2 days ago, and it's been resting on my heart. And she asked, and she's like, I said, my mom always said she never knew her dad. So that this is a part of the Lovemore story, and it came through pain and death. But my
The
message that I want to
life
share.
came through it. Life through pain and death, but life came through it. And you know what? Sometimes you wonder when you think of depending on how you grew up, your generations, your lifestyle, the experiences. Sometimes we know our purpose, but sometimes it could be the circumstance that may not allow us to walk fully in it. Sometimes we have the imposter syndrome piece. And if that pastor didn't come into your life and say, you are not yourself, sums off. You're not living your fullest life. You have lost. If he didn't do that, he activated something in you that sparked it. But then you had to make a choice. So I'm grateful that you made that choice. You saw the power in the name Love More, and you moved in it. So now this love of cooking. So now you love more. You have this love of cooking. Where did this love of cooking come from? That you create these most awesome dishes and you lay it out with such style and with such it tastes and look as good as it tastes and look.
Um, Oh my goodness, there's so much I want to share with you. It took me a very long time, and I just want to be open and honest because this could also help someone. It took me, I probably didn't realize, probably around 2018, I realized that it wasn't that I love to cook,
Mhm.
I love to create.
Ah, bing bing moment, bing bing moment.
Yeah, it took me forever because there was a feeling of I want more, and I couldn't understand what it is. I'm like, I want more, Lord. I felt something missing inside, but I could see the Lord's hands in this creation.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
started to
yeah.
see it. I would step back and look at the creation, and you said it right. I'm so humble that sometimes my team member just want to just knock me up my head. right? But I'm gonna be honest with you. I would step back, and I'm not sure.
Where did you go? You just went on mute. You just went on mute. We lost your sound.
I'm sorry. I'm still here. I just had to mute for a second. It got
Okay.
a little bit noisy in the house.
That's okay. You're in the house. It's all right. It's all good.
Yes. So I would step back, and I would see the beautiful hands of God's creation. And I
Right.
would step back at my own events and say, "Oh my goodness, Lord, God started to show me who He is and His
Right.
hands." And
Right.
this is not something I tell anyone, because how do you have this conversation? But I would be at work, and I do my flowers, and I'm happy, and I'm creating, and I step back. I said, "God, look at you."
Yeah.
Look at you. But get back to my question, it was around 2018 I discovered, because I started to feel empty, Nicole. I'm like, I
Mm.
wanted more. I was thirsty. I'm like, I wanted more. And I'm like, Lord, why am I not feeling fulfilled? And that's when I realized that I outgrew the love for cooking. What I
Mhm.
really love, Nicole, is creating. Put a basket of food and stuff, food that I've never known, and tell me to create. That's when I shine. I shine when I'm creating, and that's when tell me to cook. A lot of people can cook. Tell me to create, happiness.
Did you see Deborah? She's the best I've seen with food decor. She is the bomb diggity. I'm telling you. You have totally got this. This is a deeper desire and purpose that may manifest itself in different talents and skills. And one thing I do remember though is that in your cooking, when you were transitioning, and as we move into the transition, I want us to talk about. I have a question before this, but I want you to think on this: the journey into the transition, because you started getting clues. There were clues that were coming. Now, as a woman, as a chef, as a human, um, and cooking, you've cooked for many people, thousands of people, but you really don't get to sit down to dinner with all of these people. If you could cook a meal for someone right now and do what Deborah just said, do your food decor, who would you want to prepare that meal for and why?
I would want to prepare that meal for the most broken person on this earth.
And who? Oh,
It
okay,
could
that's a good. Wow! 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 Wow!
it
Wow!
could be, I'm not sure who this person is, but it could be this broken. When I say broken, I'm talking broken, almost like no hope, maybe a homeless person.
Right.
That's the person I would want to pour into,
Mm,
hold the mirror, tell them my story, and say it's not over. It's not over. And not only I will be feeding them food, I'll be feeding them hope, peace,
yes.
forgiveness, healing. And you know that word? It's a J to the O to the Y. And
Joy.
show them that life is not over. That's the person I would want to feed. Why would I want to feed the person who has it all and have the big mansion? I'm not saying I wouldn't feed you, but if I have a choice, let me go heal that one person, not the 99. You know the story.
Listen, and this is what I love about you, and this is what shows your heart. So it seems that we need a sponsor to set up a dinner that you can create and give you the food so that you can go, whether it's we start at the shelter and then we take it out to the streets and create beautiful meals and food decor, and not just give it to them in a brown bag, but make that a beautiful space. Okay, anybody listening here live and on the replay, David Click Cox, you're on. Woo woo! I'm just loving the people that are on tonight. I love my audience. I love that people have joined us. That we can create this love, this food, and this decor. David Click with some music, with some musicians. That would be really great. So now, as you go in this journey and you're transitioning from food and transitioning from catering, because there was a point then I remember, like, we were trying to get you to cater and you couldn't cater, but you said there were clues. I believe one of the clues that you got was when you were having trouble even finding space to even create. And so, was that part of this? I want to assume that this was part of the journey of transitioning for you. How did you deal? How did you handle your mom? These roadblocks. How did you stay sane? How did you transition from all that chaos into this metamorphosis that has transpired?
I found God.
Wow.
That's
Okay.
the number one answer. I think for me to start anywhere else would be just so disappointing to him because I
Mhm.
found him. He saved me. He overpoured his joy and energy into me that gave me life, that even when I'm going through a storm, I'm like, goodness God, I'm going through the biggest storm yet, but I feel peace. People are asking, how comes you're smiling? I know you're going through a storm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, thank God for his joy in me, and thank God for allowing me to connect with him, to find his joy in me.
Yes.
Outside of that, once we take care of that, because I have to make that number one,
Yes.
I have daily habits and routine, and I have a joy list.
Woo! You have a joy list. Okay, go for the goal. I'm listening.
I have a joy list, and I started to create this joy list after my mom passed.
Okay.
So everything circles back to my mom and God.
Mm.
So after my mom passed, and I made the choice that I want to live more, not exist, because I'm like, no one ever is going to tell me that you're barely
Mhm.
existing. That's like one of the worst things for someone to tell you, but I needed to
Right.
hear it because, as you said, it really helped me to get to where I'm at right now. And kind of lost my train of thought there, so help me back up. What's the
Right.
question?
So we were talking about you were going to give me some of the what's on your joy list. Let's transition. What's on some of that joy list for you?
Yes. So I wanted to tell you how I started with this choices. One, I made the decision that I wanted to live more. For something just said, pay attention to what fuels your energy. When you have like that spark, almost
Yes.
like, you have like a child at Christmas, energized, excited, jumping on down all over the
Yes.
place.
Yes.
I started to pay attention to who are the people that just like, whoa, when I see them, it's like extra long hug. And you just like, you want to dance. You have those people where you
Yes.
see them, it's just like, wow,
They just have. Yes.
happiness, and just
Yes.
like feed and fuel the energy. So I started to pay attention to who my pelotons were. I started to pay attention to
Wow.
who are the people that fuel and really just pour into me. I started to pay attention to places I go, and I'm like, whoa, this is feeding my energy. And I love the lake. So a few of the things on my joy list, the sky, and this may just sound so weird to a lot of people, but one thing I can tell you, because I know who I am, I own who I am.
Woo! Wait, wait, wait. Because I know who I am. Say that again.
Because I know who I am, and I have to even think because God is speaking, and when He speaks, sometimes I can't even catch up with it. Because I know who I am, I own who I am.
That's good. That's good.
You see, I have to stop and think because I don't speak from here, I speak from my heart. So when I sometimes I can't even remember what I said, I have to go back and watch this. So
I'm,
let
I'm,
me get
I'm
back.
I'm making sure I'm saving this one. This is why I tell people you never know when the nuggets, the diamonds are going to drop. That was a big diamond. And one of the things I'm loving what you're saying goes back to the beginning of the conversation. When I said to you, how do you start your day? You were intentional. But in order to get to that place, the tool is you had to do what I call part of the mind fast. You had to stop and listen and be conscious of what you were doing with yourself, what you were doing for yourself, what brought you joy. And I hope that anyone listening here can do that piece of reflection. Even now, when we're thinking we go back to the pandemic, I don't have this, I'm zoomed out, I'm this. Instead of the complaining of what you don't have, what I heard you say tonight is you focus what you do have and how can you bring and as you say, make lemonade out of the lemons and all those great things. And so this intention of creating the joy list, of looking at, you said pelotons, my God, the pelotons in your life, and seeing how they were happy. And one of the things you said you even start your day with is dancing, and that's one of the things that you've created. So now here you are. You've gone from chef. You still kept the love more in your name. You still kept the love doing it. And now you've transitioned. I shouldn't say I didn't see this coming, because you were always encouraging others. You did this full game changer, and now you are a lifestyle coach. No, let me even be better at this. A lifestyle Lovemore GPS coach. How did you even transition to that?
Um, it was it's a long process, a lot of information, but I just want to make sure that I go back to gratitude.
Yes.
One of the person who helped me with this whole transition, she's on. I hope she's still on. Is Deborah. And since 2015, a lot of people have been telling me in my inbox, you should be a life coach. Stubborn me wasn't
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
listening, and
Yeah.
a part of it was I thought that I wasn't qualified.
Mm.
So I want to thank Adam Diamond. Since 2015, he's been like, you should be speaking, you should be encouraging, you should do this. And I'm like, thank you, Adam. And Deborah is on, thankfully. Just to make a very long story short, Deborah sent me the course in my inbox. She's like, sign up. She's like, sign up. And this is during COVID
He
when
said,
I'm
proud of you, sister.
Deborah, because she knows I'm stubborn and she's been telling me all this time, right? And I've been getting the clues and the hints, but I needed confirmation. But the signs were there so long. And when God knocks, he knocks gently, and then it gets louder and it gets louder. And here I'm crying. I'm like, oh Lord, what am I supposed to do? What is next? I already had the answer, but I needed the help. And there was Deborah. I remember the morning she sent me the link to the course in my WhatsApp feed. But
Right.
look how even silly I was. I'm still like, okay, I'm gonna do the course so the course can help me, guide me as to what to do next. I still didn't get it. I
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
didn't get it. So while I'm doing this course, there's more clues. But while I'm doing this, I'm like, I've been doing this for years.
Yes.
Like God just say, come on, silly. How much more do I need to tell you? And then Nicole, once I start to tell people that I'm a life coach, a few coaches said to me, it's about time.
Well, you have another person here, Amanda. You're so helpful as a life coach. And Amanda, I know you guys must sing together, because you're another great chef. You're a chefologist. I'm gonna have to create some new words here. Black cake cheesecake. When I see Amanda, I see black cake cheesecake.
Oh my gosh. You know what? Shout out. I gotta give Amanda, fellow chef. You know what? I have to give, I'm all about gratitude. And
Yes, you are.
we are iron sharpeners. Amanda, salute. Amanda, we connect so well, and she fuels and she bless me. But like, and I can reach out to her. I'm like, I'm working on this journal and I want to revise it. And I'm like, give me some feedback. And she's like, we're back and forth. And she's thinking that I'm coaching her. And I corrected her. I said, we are helping each other move and journey. A lot of people who I coach, they're like, you're coaching me. I'm like, we're coaching each other, because Nicole, a lot of time people don't realize that we have, in our own unique way and abilities, we are all coaches. As long as we're staying in our own lane of giftings, we're all
Yes.
coaches. So Amanda, you've blessed me so much. Amazing fellow chef and sister. I love you, Deborah. Everyone that's on, I'm sending you mad amount of love. Even if we haven't met, that's what love is about.
And,
I
and, the,
love
lo- and
you
the love
all.
and the love is coming true. I'm looking here, right? And my creative brain is like, okay, somebody give me some money. Right now, I have the event. Paula Joseph is online. She is like, when it comes to creating the invitations, and creating
The
the flower
flowers.
creations and the decor. and laying a table, and there's Paula, and then we got Amanda, a chef, and then we got you, the creator, and both of you are just like, you are both into food decor. And I'm just, and then we had David Clickclocks. I don't even know if David's still on. David is like, she's connected to musicians galore. I'm just seeing an event, and then we're putting this on for people who don't have. Can you see the event? I'm just excited. I'm forgetting about the interview now. We're talking about love. We're talking about pouring love. This is what Love More is about. When you start talking about love, it just infuses the whole place. And I hope that as people listen to the night, and as we share, what Love More is doing, that you feel the love, and that you can feel and recognize the purpose that you are here for, and that you sit in yourselves and realize the value that you bring to the world and to this earth. And I'm so glad that you're here tonight, and that you're able to share that joy, because I call you the joy coach. I don't just call you the love coach. I call you the joy love coach. And what for you is the value and the power of love?
The value and power of love. First I wanted to start off with, you grow up as a child and you hear the word love. I love
Mhm.
you, but we never got curious. And everything I speak about now goes right back to my mom. I don't always say that, the journey is about my mom, with depending on who I'm speaking to.
Mhm.
But it wasn't until my mom's journey that I started to discover, I'm like, this love thing. That's when the curiosity really came to
Right.
life. And what really sparked me was when my mom had some church sisters, and they would come and help me because I was still catering. I
Mhm.
wasn't getting any sleep. I was going through other personal issues. Nicole, that was the worst year for me. I was going through many other things which I can't really
The
talk about
worst of
right
times
now.
and the best of times. They call it the best of times and the worst of times happening simultaneously, because you didn't even know that something was coming out of this.
I had no idea. But what really sparked it for me, this whole love thing, was at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. when I'm just getting ready to just like leave to go out and hustle and pour my love into others while I'm going through a tough season. These ladies would come, leave from their nursing job, and I'm like, oh my goodness, Lord. And they would give me life.
Yes.
And that's when something, I'm like, this love thing is just amazing. And I mean, all my years, I mean, it took me 44 years to really start to understand. Because Nicole, I'm gonna be honest with you, understanding love is endless.
Yes.
It's endless. And when we talk about love, I don't even know if I can even fully explain it, because it's like sometimes the words are not even there.
Mhm.
But when you experience it, you know what love is. And when we talk about love, gotta go back to God is love. When you start to look at who God is, that is love. He's ever forgiving. He's
Mhm.
ever patient. He's ever compassionate. He's ever kind. His love is unconditional. It's not like I love you, Nicole, if.
Yeah.
It's not I love you because. Those words and love does not, you can't put those words and love together. You can't say I love you if you're skinny, or I
Yeah.
love you when. Those words do not exist with the qualities of love. And I have to say qualities because we could be here if you get a notepad and start down to write the qualities of love, good luck. You're going to need the sky to write it on, and even the sky is not enough.
True love, it's something that has always been so big for me when that conversation of love. So I understand when you talk about it. And love is patient, love is kind, and to love somebody unconditionally, it takes love. To love somebody unconditionally, it takes a humility, and it means it's not that you can't care for yourself, but it's above you, it's more than you. And people need to feel love, because so many people have misused love, as we talked about in the beginning, abused love, use, say I love you, but they don't even know what the essence of that feels like. And it comes through those random acts of kindness that we've spoken about, as you spoke about those women coming to you and just pouring out into you, and not being based on condition. And love requires forgiveness, you know because we can't this and it takes effort, and we have to really get back to the basics of teaching that love. And as you are a life coach now, a lifestyle love more coach, what are some of those tools in your arsenal? Because I know you have these navigational systems that
Yes.
you have put together in the Love More Lifestyle tool package. And so, for those of you who are live on the replay, just let me just frame this section for you a whole hot minute. I am speaking with the wonderful Lovemore Sher, and she is extraordinary, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. See, I'm going to give you some more of your flowers. That she is. Amanda is like, you must love yourself first in order to love outwardly. But here's the thing: we say that, and we can stick on this for a hot minute. We say we have to love ourselves unconditionally, but what does that look like? Because we have not taught and been taught, especially depending on where you grew up, what it means to really love yourself as a human, as a woman, as a child, as a son, as a man. I remember I used to do this love test when back in the day when you knew me when I was coaching. And I did this to one of my friends, and I said, "Look at yourself in the mirror, and can you tell yourself you love you?" She's like, "I love me, man." I said, "Okay, now go in that mirror and say your name. Say, Nicole, I love you." And you got to make that connection. And that's the first part of knowing if you really love yourself. Then try doing it naked. Then that's a whole conversation, because, and I know share that you can, to do that, to say that you love yourself and love you in all your awesomeness, whatever shape or form that looks like. Can you love someone when they're ill? Can you love someone when it's not just a physical ailment? Can you love someone if they have a mental illness? That's a different type, because many people say, "Oh, I love you in sickness and in health and in death do us part." And some people will even say, "I love my child that way." And we know for many it is not always that easy, because when people show up differently than what we expect, that's when your love is conditional. And so, I this love talk, as you say, we can go on. You and I could talk about that for days and still be sitting here, and they'd be like, "They're still talking on the Victory Speak show." Yes, they've been talking about love for the last 5 days. But going back to the system that you have to help people navigate some of this. Can you share some of it with us? I know you have a lot of systems, but so I won't expect you to break it all down. People will have to go to your website and hire you as a coach, and I'm going to make sure and put up your website for everyone to make sure you follow her and go to the website and book Love More for your lifestyle coaching. Okay, I've talked enough. You go. It's all you.
Yes. So we actually, when I shared that with you, it was, I got the revelation that this is a system that you need to share with the world. And it's a system that I've been using by myself for years, as I said. So I'm going to share with you a few, because there's so many. But in essence, it's a GPS, and we all need a GPS to get to where we need to be going. And a few of them are the GPS, God powered system, gratitude powered system. I have to get my book here because I wanted to share a few with them to you. God powered system, God proven success, grace powered system, giving powered system, which you spoke about
Yes.
earlier,
Yes.
finding who would I give to, um, growth production system, and God perspective system. It's a whole long list. I only shared with you a few, but
Yes.
these are the system that has helped me to transform and evolve to the person you're seeing here. And those who knew me before will know what I'm talking about. Like, if you're just meeting me, you're gonna be like, no, 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 she was never shy. No, 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 she wasn't this. But Deborah knows. She's a testament to, and even Paula knows, and yourself, because you remember the shy, didn't have a voice, always smile, like, thankfully. But God really did his work, and I'm thankful that I'm alive to witness his transformation in me, because my mom never got that opportunity. I'm thankful that I have this opportunity to live in the to live, and I must say, choose my legacy. A lot of people, we
Mm,
wait until the person is dead to
yes.
say what was her legacy. My legacy is, it's no was, it's is, because I'm living in it, and my legacy is love more. Ladies and gentlemen, you can choose your legacy and you can live in it. Nicole, you're living in yours. Victory speaks. Choose your legacy. So
See, she,
that's what I did.
she's going deep here. So if someone is stuck now in loving themselves, what advice could you give to someone who really needs to just take that step back and look at loving themselves again?
I can only share from what I've been through and my experience, and hopefully can resonate with someone. I went to a scripture that we all know.
Now, not everybody knows because you got to remember, not everybody on here
That's true.
are believers, you right? Because your system. Not everybody understands or believes, and some people believe in a higher power. Some people believe in the God that you and I believe in. Some people don't believe. They just believe in love, and that love looks like something different for each of them. So, but when it comes to loving yourself, especially even if you don't know God, how could you even begin to love yourself?
Yes. So first I'm going to share my process. So the process for me was, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made.
Hmm.
And I can't remember the Psalms. I think it was Psalms 139, because you created me in my mom's womb. And I even
Hmm.
wrote an affirmation from that. I'm going to share it with you. It's day 4 of our Lovemore Lifestyle journal. I
Ooh,
am I am a masterpiece, one of a kind, blessed with unique gifts, and I am traveling humbly, knowing, listen to this, I am irreplaceable.
yes,
That's where it all started. I took
right.
that scripture and I broke it down. And even when I'm having a difficult time and I forget who I am in God, I close my eyes and I'm like, God created me for a purpose. I am unique. I am special. I am one of a kind. I am a masterpiece. And I get up and I go in the mirror, just as you said. I had to learn to love myself naked. I have to strip everything down to the bare nakedness of who I am and start to accept. So self love starts with self knowing, self acceptance, honesty. It's a whole huge process. And I went through that, and I'm loving myself more, because what I have to share with you is, there is no limit. Don't transform and love yourself and think I'm good, because I did that. I transformed so much. I'm like, I am good. This is it. And God said, no, 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 no. Don't get too comfortable.
Right, right.
So there's no, what I want to share, there's no limit to loving yourself more. There's no limit to being patient. All the great things that God wants for us, there's no limit. God is the limit, not the sky, okay?
Oh, she's dropping those wisdom keys tonight. God is the limit, not the sky. And I love that because loving oneself is a process and it's a journey. And you dropped that, you are a masterpiece. And it's sometimes figuring out what that masterpiece is that is you, because we put all these words out there for people and we have to help them to break down what does that masterpiece look like. That masterpiece looks like kindness. That masterpiece looks like, you know, joy. That masterpiece looks like a giving heart. That masterpiece looks like gentleness. That masterpiece looks. What does that masterpiece looks like? And even if you couldn't be that person today, could you still love yourself? You know, if your loved one couldn't be that person they were to you yesterday, could you still love them? And that, this love, as I say, this love piece is huge. And self-knowing and self-acceptance, I loved how you put that, loving yourself. How can you know yourself, and how can you accept yourself? And I recognize one of the things that you said, you had people along your journey who helped you to do this. It wasn't a journey that you did by yourself. And figuring out that you were not irreplaceable, and what that looks like and what that feels like. Because when that imposter syndrome comes in, when you feel, oh, I'm not good enough, you have to really know that that you're not irreplaceable. And I think everybody has to recognize that, we may be sitting up here, and I can speak for myself. I'm not going to speak for Cher, but I know I can sit up here and say I deal with the imposter syndrome at times, because you wonder, like, there's so many people out there doing what we do. There's so many people saying what we say, and what makes it different? Why am I can be replaced? But it's understanding that, and believing the frequency, that your voice has a frequency and my voice has a frequency. And that, I loved how when you were building up Amanda, you were speaking to Amanda's greatness. You weren't even building her up. You were just speaking to her greatness and what she is. And you're a chef and she's a chef. And people will think you'd be competing against each other, but you guys complement one another. And how did you learn how to move from that place of competition into complementing each other?
I remember when I just started my catering, and I was in a Doma Patterson wedding show,
Right.
and I met Selwyn. And a week after, we were connected and we were borrowing each other's stuff and doing this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I really have to say it's a gift from God. I never saw myself competing, and it gave me an edge. Selwyn helped me out so many times. Selwyn, can I borrow your food box? Can I borrow this? Can I borrow your warmers? And people don't see those stuff behind the scenes. But he blessed me so much. And I think, when it goes back to gratitude, I was so thankful for this chef helping me. I remember one time I wanted to just like quit catering, and someone came up to Whitby, drove up, brought me coffee, and sat down with me and said, "Hang in
Wow.
there." So
Yeah.
I want to share with you, and
Yeah.
here's another message. Compliment, collaborate. Please don't compare and compete. It will destroy you. It will destroy you. So, like, shout out to Selwyn for helping me and all those trips and really mentoring me and telling me to hang in there. But I'm always about building each other up and joining forces and complimenting you and telling you the best that I see in you and cheering you on.
I love that, and that's the beauty of it. That I see so many people collaborating together, and they may not realize. And for those who are live on the replay, it doesn't hurt to collaborate with something. You really have nothing to lose. You have more to gain. And so when you look at victory, and this show is called Victory Speaks. Victory is because that's my name. My name, Nicole, as simple as it may sound, means victory of the people. And so when I say victory speaks, we speak from our victory, and your love, your life is speaking to me right now. But for you, what does victory look like to you? Now, some people use the word success. I use victory.
Victory for me is learning to celebrate in each moment.
Mm.
Learning to celebrate, especially the small things that we take for granted. Victory to me is waking up in the morning. I'm like, from you wake up this morning, it's yes. I always sing that song. When
Yeah,
I wake
yeah,
up, sometimes you wake up and you just need that extra energy to say, woman, you're alive. Don't try to even complain. I
right.
sing that song. From you wake up this morning, you're a winner,
I love
yes.
it. Look you. You're becoming a Trini now. You're Trini to the bone. You're Trini to the bone now. Hey, loving it. And I love that you're a winner. And when I share that piece too, and I love that you choose that, because we're all winners if we choose that we don't have to compete against one another. I like to look at, you know as the race as a marathon versus a sprint. so that, I'm giving, just like you talked about, you're sharing, but you're giving the baton to Amanda. Then when you're feeling it, Selwyn gives the baton to you, and everybody comes through the finish line together, because we're each taking part of this leg together. And together we're all victorious as we collaborate, as we give to the other person and give to the other person. And I just love that for you. Is there a motto or a quote that guides you?
Trust God and do great.
Trust God and do great. I love that. I love that. And so, Trinity the Bone, Wendy in the house, you're a winner. Look, look, look. Collaboration is awesome. This is they're rooting for you now. Give her the love. Give her the hearts. Let her see the hearts, people. Let her see the hearts on the Facebook and on. Let her see the hearts. You know, I'm very particular with words, as you know, and a lot of people say like trust, but what does trust really mean to you?
Trust for me means learning to let go. And I have to say learning because
Yeah.
it's hard. It's hard to say, okay, Lord, I am just going to get up each day and just wait for you to give me my daily direction. I am just going to start the journal and allow you to tell me the affirmation, help me find the person who's going to design the cover, even when it's delayed. And I'm just going to trust you, Lord, that this is working out for my good. It's not easy, but Lord, I'm going to take it step by step and moment by moment and grab my basket and wait for the clues because He is going to
Mm.
provide them. But we're not patient. So I had to learn to say, okay, I'm going to grab my life basket. I'm going to get up each day and I'm going to like, okay, Lord, I'm ready to serve. Who am I assigned? What is the project? And then He's like, go to the lake and send Nicole a video with flowers. And I'm like, okay, Lord, sent. And He's gonna be like, check in with Chef Amanda and see how she's doing. I'm like, hey Queen, I'm just stopping by to say you're phenomenal. I'm like, okay, Lord. He speaks to us. And it's not always easy to hear, but the more we are committed to listening, trust me, God has directed me on this journey. And what I thought was a delay was just a setup for my victory. And I use victory because that's our word. I had this journal here. I'm revising the cover, and delay after delay after delay. I finally got the image, but there was a reason why He delayed because he wanted more. He showed me more information. He said, this is the direction you're going, but I needed to delay this process so I can hold the mirror for you to see what I'm doing, because that is how you're going to build your faith. When you start to see, love more, what
Yeah. Yeah.
I am doing through you and doing for you, that's going to build your faith.
See, the love, the love. Wendy's shouting you, sending you some love. And so you mentioned a journal, but what is this journal? Because I see you read from a journal, but you didn't tell us about the journal.
So I created a Lovemore Lifestyle Journal. I wanted to do this from 5 years ago. The Lovemore Lifestyle Journal is the exact blueprint that helped me change my life. So it's a 2-page for each day. So
Right.
I'm gonna just tell you what's on page one. Page one, it starts with the Dear God.
Right.
It tells you this is how you start today. I start my day in giving thanks and praying. There's a section today I'm grateful for. There's a section, self-care reminder, and it says spirit, soul, and body. Today, my self-care is. Sometimes for me, my self-care is reading my scripture. Sometimes it's listening to a song. So I
Right.
want people to know that get out of the only physical body thing, painting the nails, of self-care. It is
Right.
it is
Super.
spirit, soul, and body. And your soul is mind, will, and emotion.
Yes.
Because we want to learn, and this is where you become more joyful when you start to fully take better care of your spirit, soul, and body. You will recognize that. And we have a section for self-reflection. That's huge for self-love.
Yes.
And with that, I do this every day. I'm like, what are the highlights of my day? What are the lessons? What are things that I can work on? What are the questions I need to ask myself? What are my answered prayers and praise report? And the biggest thing is, what is my forgiveness for today? And it says at the end, dear God, I ask for forgiveness. I do not go to bed angry. And I pray before going to sleep. And I must give Amanda another kudos. I sent her a test copy and the self reflection. Amanda, a lot of that feedback came from you. And
That's awesome.
page number two of the journal, it speaks about my goals, my priorities, my mission and experiences for today. So this is not a to-do list. We're
Right.
talking
Right.
about I want to feed you that you're choosing your words properly. It's not a
Yes.
to-do list. It's a mission list. It is
Yes.
an experiences for the day list. And then we have reminders of, well, I will look for ways to be an example of love and a blessing. And that's on every day.
And so when I, because for some people this could be tedious and whatever. So what were the benefits that you saw from doing this for yourself? Because you've done this now, because before you put this out there, you said you were doing it and you've tested it. What were the results that you saw from doing this type of activity daily? Because that's a lot. Because Nicole Karen Virginia Waldron be like, oh God.
I I completely understand because people will buy a lot of journal and they can't commit to that. It
Yes.
Nicole, when you know where you're coming from
Mm,
and where you're at,
yes.
you know what? To me, if you don't want to get it, that's okay. I will forever buy my own journal and I use it every day.
But my
I
question to
use
you
it
really
every day.
is, what were the benefits that you saw from doing this, from doing your
My,
journal?
my my first answer, it forced me to find time to sit quietly and spend time with myself. And it allowed me to create consistency in my day. It allowed me to map out a time every single day where I'm like, this is my time. The journal does that for me. It's a time where I sit and I reflect. It's a time where I'm forced to say, write down 5 things that you're grateful for. It's a time where I'm like, I have to write a letter to God. I write a letter to God every single day. I'm like, I'm praying for Nicole. I'm praying for Chef Amanda. I'm
Mhm.
praying for Deborah. The journal even have a list of the people you want to pray for.
And that's what, because you see, people need to see, sometimes they need to see the benefits. And what I hear you saying is that this made you become more intentional, become healthier in your mind, body, soul, and spirit. So if you really want to say that you want your mind, body, soul, and spirit, you literally said that. What I heard you saying is that you set aside that time. You set aside the time for self-care that was bigger than painting your nails, than bigger than just getting the massage, is bigger than working on the body, because we have to work from the inside out and not always from the outside in. So I really love that you coined it that way. And now that you sit in that and you're doing this now, what would you have said to yourself, say maybe 25 years ago?
Um, ask the question again.
What would you have said to yourself 25 years ago, or maybe 20 years ago, or 10 years ago? That younger person who was not in the place that you are now.
What would I say to that person
Yeah, that younger you.
from my voice now?
Yes.
I would say the first thing I would say, please know that the experiences and everything that you're going through is shaping you for the better part of you and is shaping you to really manifest and really walk into the destiny that God has for you. And God never loses a battle. He never wastes a battle. That's what I would tell her.
Woo! Drop the mic. Shut the front door. Now I'm going. I'm going. I'm going. I'm going back now. We're going. We're almost done, and I'm thanking you for your time. What are some of the key lessons you've learned around the way? You could be one, could be two, could be three, could be five. Not 25, but give me a few lessons you think that were key for you that you learned along the way.
I think the first one is trusting God and doing great.
Mm,
Trusting God and doing great. Whenever I fall off track, I just like go back to that line. That's It's a simple line. I
right.
just, Nicole, I just close my eyes. I say, come on, love more. Trust God. I break it down. I simmer in it, I break down the word, trust God and do great. Sometimes how hard that is when you're in a battle, when maybe
Yes.
when you're
Yes.
angry. I have it written down, and I have it on my whiteboard because sometimes you need the
You need to
physical
see it.
reminder.
You need to see it. Yes.
So I have all those reminders. That's one of my big key. Trust God and do great. That's the one that's sticking out in my mind because I use it so much. And I love to say, God is not overwhelmed. When I feel overwhelmed,
Ooh, that's big.
When I feel overwhelmed, I say God is not overwhelmed. When I feel stressed, I say love more. God is not stressed. That gets me it.
Wow.
Even if it doesn't get me out of it, you know what it does? It shifts my mood so I can
Wow.
start to think clear and take action. God is never overwhelmed. God never loses a battle. God never wastes a battle. When I'm going through a difficult time, these are the things that I have a whole long list. These are the things that I repeat. Love more, come on. God never loses a battle. Then I have the songs that I listen to. All of these messages and things that I'm telling you, I get them through songs.
Hmm.
I get them through songs. I will listen to a song and I'm just like, I'm eating it. Nice.
Mm.
I'm like chewing on the words and I'm like, man, this is so good. And I'm just
Yeah. Yeah.
eating it and drinking it. So that's like my top one. Trust God and do great. He never loses a battle. Never.
I love that. And you know what? In the trusting God, and even just the word trust alone, trust requires humility. Trust requires releasing control.
Yeah.
Because when you can't trust something or someone, you have to be in that control sometimes, and that's part of the trusting of something that is greater than yourself or outside
Yeah.
of yourself. You know, and so I really love that. And if you were to look back in life, and I think 20 years from now, because you talk about legacy and that you're living in that legacy, what do you matter to you most 20
Um,
years from now?
you gotta repeat. It kind of cut out a little bit.
So 20 years from now, hopefully I'm not cutting out anymore. You hear me good?
Yes.
Okay. So 20 years from now, as you look back over your life, what would matter to you most?
What would matter to me the most is the one life that I would have touched and healed and given them hope to find and seek and align themselves to make sure that they're walking in the lane and finding all the GPS that they need to fulfill their destiny.
I love that. I love that. And so, as we start winding down this beautiful conversations that I don't want to end because we're talking about one of my favorite conversations, which is love. And, whether it is somebody going through, whether, you think about the pandemic and people being inside, and sometimes people are too close together and there's friction happening in the house, what advice or what would you want to say to anyone listening now who is struggling in their own love walk, from the lifestyle love more coach?
Nicole, to be honest with you, in life, we need a lot of things to go through. And sometimes we forget that no man is an island, no man stand alone. We weren't created to travel alone. We need the right people in our lives to pour into us. You've poured into me so many times. A lot of people have poured. this is not a self-made transformation.
Right.
I'm talking about, and I like to replace people with Peloton, and I have to give credit to Carol Roberts. Do you know Queen Carol Roberts?
No, not yet. But I guess I
She
get to her.
she sent me a video. The gentleman name is Paul Scanlon,
Right.
and that's where I got the term Peloton,
Yes.
Peloton, and I've
Yes.
never heard that word before. And when she sent me that message, like Nicole, I danced. And I want people to know what Peloton means. This is who you need. I'm going to change from people to Peloton.
Yeah.
When you talk about Peloton, he spoke about, say, a gentleman going and he's in the Tour de France. And you know, the Tour de France, you have the
Yes.
gentleman in the
Yep.
middle and he's surrounded by other cyclists. But a lot of people don't
Don't
know
know. Yep.
there's a purpose for the men on the outside. They're
Yep.
shielding the wind to give him energy so he has all the
Yep.
energy he needs to go that long
Yes.
length.
Yes.
Nicole, a lot of us in life, a lot of times in life, we need those people who say, Chef Amanda, what project are you working on? When is it due?
Mm-hmm.
Come. Is it due in December? Come, we're gonna go. Let me call
Yes.
Nicole. Let me call Paula. Let me call Deborah.
Yes.
Let me call Trev. We are going to see you to the finish line. If you're creating a book, we're gonna see. I may not be the editor, but I can say, Chef Amanda, I'm cheering you on. How you do, Queen? How are you?
Yes.
I,
Yes.
I go to the lake and I send
Yes.
her a video. We, especially in this time of COVID, people losing their jobs and you may not have the financial resources, we need Pelotons who will come
Yes.
and do things unconditionally. Sometimes we give and we're giving with one and we're like,
Yep.
I gave him and he never gave back to me. Find your, when you talk about success, you need Pelotons.
And what
And
people don't know about the pelotons is that sometimes you may see them ahead because the way that the peloton works in the race, and if you've never watched the Tour de France, go get a thing and watch the Tour de France. But you have to understand how the peloton works first to understand, because if you're watching it from your regular eyes, you'll be like, why are these all these people here? And it takes days. It's not something that happens, there's a winner one day. And so I'm really glad that you used that analogy of the peloton, because it's one of the most powerful analogies in terms, as I call them, iron sharpeners, and
yeah.
bringing those people around you, and understanding that if we help each other along the journey, we will all fulfill the purpose and reach the destiny and the goals that we're here to do. Because the toe can't do, the big toe can't work without the little toe, the thumb can't work without the index if it has to write.
Yeah.
Everybody needs another person, another thing made out of the same thing. Because I use iron sharpeners, our fingers, they're all the same, but each finger on our hands has a different purpose, but they
Yeah.
need each other. And sometimes they need to form a fist. So I really love that piece of advice. And look at Deborah coming up here. Girl, you're off the chain tonight. Yep. He is off the chain tonight. And you're dropping these nuggets, gold nuggets, crystal nuggets, all sorts of nuggets you're dropping here tonight, words of wisdom to live by. And I am so grateful that you are here and sharing your love more. And tell people how they can find you, how they can follow you, how they can, if they need you as a coach, if they need you as a speaker, how can they find the great Love More?
Okay, so let's start with my website, lovemorelifestyle.ca, Instagram, Lovemore Lifestyle Coaching, my personal Facebook page, Lovemore Sher McLaughlin, and I think that's it.
Okay.
If you at least connect with me on my personal page, just connect with me and mention that you saw me on the Victory Show, and we can connect, and let's connect and let's learn and unlearn and grow and become inspiration for others to become Pelotons. I love you all. Nicole, thank you so, so much. I waited until the end to really thank you. You have blessed me so much. God has spoken to your heart to reach out to me at many times when I was having a low day. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for bringing more victory into the world.
Oh, thank you, Cher. And for everybody live and on the replay that you're here, I hope you will take this opportunity to share tonight, to share what we spoke about tonight, to share the love with others. Love is a many splendid thing, and it's not always easy to do, but it's the best gift that we can give ourselves. It's the best gift that we can give others. And I hope that you can give it along the way. I want to thank my guests, Lovemore Sher. She's teaching, she's coaching, she's still creating. I know she'll still create in the kitchen. I can't wait till this pandemic is over and I can get some more from her. And I just want to call and remind everybody, that you are enough. And if
Yes.
you want to know more about what we do at Victory Speaks and what I'm doing here, you can follow me on Twitter, on Instagram at Victory Speaks 7. Be sure to tune in and subscribe to that YouTube channel because one day we're going to morph all the way into YouTube, the Facebook page, if you're listening live or on the replay, depending on where you're watching from. It is Victory Speaks 77. And I also have the Victory Speaks podcast on Spotify and Apple and anywhere else that you can listen to a podcast where I share the victory formula, the guide to living a victorious lifestyle. And of course, we're having conversations on Clubhouse in the background here. You're hearing one of my favorite groups, Calabash. And every day seek to have that inspired conversation with someone you love, someone you meet along the way. Smile even with that mask on. You can still smile. The smile can come through your eyes. It just emanates through you. And may you see the victory moments in your week, in your day. Write them down. Create the box. I need to bring up my little victory box that I write down every week. Some of the victory moments that I've had along the week. And remember, love is in the details. And so I hope that you feel some love tonight. And if you have no one telling you that they love you tonight, know that
We love you.
lots of love, lots of love. Thank you for tuning in. Paula, Deborah, Amanda being so engaged, and everyone. If I missed your names, I apologize. Beta, you're tuning in. Trev, Judith, Ulysses,
Shout out, Trev.
Donna Ellis, thank you all for tuning in. Sophia Davis, I'm calling you out tonight because I want you to know that you are loved.
Hi,
We are
Sophia.
really feeling you. We are really happy that you tuned in and showed us love You showed us love by showing up tonight, and we want you to be blessed. And so, thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in. And be somebody's light. Be somebody's love today. Walk in love, light, and truth. And see you on next week, Monday. It is Easter Monday for some. And I'll have a treat for you. I'm going to bring some music on here too for you. So
Music?
tune in. Tune in. If I get the guest I want, you're going to have some beautiful violin music. Ooh, we're gonna spread some love with music. It's gonna be a different month this month of April. For March, you got women. We had Women's Month. We had Women's Month, and I choose the challenge. And the theme for Women's Month was choose the challenge. So as we end tonight, I choose to challenge you, and I know Love More is choosing to challenge you to love more today, to love yourself more today, to love someone in your life today, to love your community more today, and take care of yourself and do one of the best things you can do for yourself today, and be self compassionate today. We love you. Take care. Be blessed.